Every mistake that got rappers caught. YNW Melly, rapping about his own crime. YNW Melly thought his song Murder on My Mind was just dark creativity. But the moment his friends were found dead, investigators started connecting dots that sounded way too close to his lyrics. The chilling details in the track, headshots, remorse, and panic, matched the evidence in the real case almost word for word. Police found GPS data showing Melly's phone at the exact location during the murders. Ballistics and phone pings painted the same story his song described. What started as art quickly turned into a self-written confession. Detectives literally studied his verses line by line, comparing them to forensic reports. When the lyrics matched the timeline, Melly's own creativity became his downfall. He claimed it was just a song, but the law didn't see it that way. In court, prosecutors used his music to show intent and motive. Fans were shocked that his biggest hit might have been based on real bloodshed. The song that made him famous became the same one that trapped him. For many, it blurred the line between storytelling and self-snitching. In the end, Melly didn't just rap about murder, he rapped himself into a murder case. Sometimes the mic doesn't just amplify your voice, it echoes your mistakes.
Bobby Shmurda, when his lyrics became a confession. Bobby Shmurda's rise was legendary, a viral dance, a catchy hook, and a new face for Brooklyn drill. But behind the music was a story that sounded too real to be fiction. In Hot Nigga, Bobby rapped about his crew, their crimes, and even mentioned names of real gang members. The NYPD didn't take it as entertainment, they took it as evidence. They studied every lyric, connected every reference, and realized he wasn't exaggerating. When the GS9 gang investigation dropped, Bobby's lyrics became part of the case file. Prosecutors said his bars literally matched unsolved shootings, weapons cases, and drug deals. His song became a lyrical map of a criminal enterprise. Instead of denying it, Bobby's fame made him the face of the operation. The feds played his own song in court as proof of intent. What started as rap authenticity turned into real-world accountability. Shmurda learned the hard way that when you brag about the streets will testify. His mistake wasn't just rapping real, it was rapping too real. The same track that made him a star was also the one that dimmed his light. Fame can open doors, but for Bobby, it opened a cell. 6ix9ine snitching to save himself. Tekashi 6ix9ine wanted to be the loudest, flashiest, most hated man in hip-hop. He joined the 9 Trey Plods for street credibility, but forgot that the streets don't play games. For a while, his rainbow hair, trolling, and viral antics made him unstoppable. But behind the memes was real gang activity. Robberies, shootings, and extortion. The FBI had been watching the entire operation unfold in real time. When the feds came knocking, 6ix9ine didn't hesitate to trade loyalty for freedom. He named names, pointed fingers, and told every detail like a movie script. His testimony sent multiple gang members to prison. The same people who protected him became the ones he betrayed to survive. The world watched in disbelief as hip-hop's biggest troll became the culture's biggest snitch. His decision turned him into a meme, but it also made him a marked man. He walked out of prison alive, but his street respect never recovered. 6ix9ine learned that fame and fear don't mix, and the internet can't protect you from the streets. His biggest mistake wasn't joining a gang, it was thinking he could play gangster and get a happy ending. In the end, Tekashi's story became hip-hop's wildest cautionary tale.
XXX Tentacion confessing on tape. XXX Tentacion lived a life full of chaos, emotion, and controversy. Behind his fame was a dark history of violence that kept following him. During one recorded phone call, he admitted to stabbing someone and beating his girlfriend. He didn't know that recording would later become his most damaging piece of evidence. The tape surfaced years later during an investigation, and it painted him as the villain he always tried to escape. Prosecutors didn't need lyrics or witnesses. They had his own words. What made it worse was how calm he sounded, almost proud of his actions. That single recording haunted his image and legacy. Fans defended him, saying he had changed, but the damage was already done. It showed how a moment of honesty can turn into a lifetime of regret. For XXXTentacion, it wasn't just a confession, it was proof that his demons were real. The tape blurred the line between repentance and exposure. And even after his tragic death, that call became a reminder of the darker side of his story. His talent was undeniable, but so was his pain. In the end, the same voice that made him a star also recorded his downfall. T.I. trying to buy machine guns. T.I. was one of the biggest rappers alive, platinum hits, movies, and millions in the bank. But fame didn't stop him from making one of the dumbest decisions in hip-hop history. Just before the BET Awards, he tried to buy machine guns and silencers from undercover federal agents. Yes, the agents were pretending to be gun dealers. They caught him red-handed, with cash in hand, ready to stock up like he was going to war. The shocking part? He didn't even need those guns. He had bodyguards, security, and all the protection money could buy. But ego made him feel untouchable, like the laws didn't apply. When he got arrested, it made global headlines. The King of the South was suddenly just another inmate facing a decade in prison. His fame became his biggest liability. The feds made an example out of him. T.I. took a plea deal and turned it into a teachable moment later. But the damage was done. His near fall from grace showed that one bad decision can erase years of hard work. Even legends can lose their crowns when they let pride pull the trigger. T.I. learned that playing gangster while being famous never ends well.
Gucci Mane, the body he couldn't hide. Gucci Mane's story is straight out of a crime movie. After being targeted in a home invasion, he fired back in self-defense and killed one of the attackers. Instead of calling the cops, Gucci panicked and buried the body behind a middle school. For a while, he acted like nothing happened. But when police found the corpse days later, the news exploded. Rapper Gucci Mane, connected to homicide, became the headline everywhere. Suddenly, his music career turned into a murder case. The courts later ruled it as self-defense, but his reputation took a heavy hit. People saw him as dangerous, reckless, and unpredictable. Gucci claimed he did what he had to do, but hiding the body made it worse. It painted him as guilty before anyone even heard the full story. The media ran wild with rumors, turning fact into legend. The case became part of his identity, inspiring countless bars and interviews. In the end, Gucci beat the case, but not the stigma. His biggest mistake wasn't pulling the trigger, it was trying to bury the truth. Kodak Black, the social media slip-up. Kodak Black always loved showing off. Flashy cars, chains, and sometimes guns. But one Instagram Live would cost him big time. While already on probation, Kodak went live flashing real firearms, unaware that the cops were watching. His followers thought it was just flexing, but every camera angle became evidence in court. Social media turned into a digital witness for law enforcement. The video provided exact proof that he violated probation terms. Instead of keeping a low profile, Kodak's confidence made him careless. Prosecutors didn't even need a traditional investigation. The evidence posted itself. Fans criticized him, saying, "Why would you do that?" But Kodak lived in the moment. His flashy lifestyle clashed with legal reality, and the law doesn't negotiate with ego. Courts saw it as blatant disregard for rules. The same platform that boosted his fame also set the trap. Kodak's mistake? Thinking followers were allies, not witnesses. In the end, social media immortalized the crime before the arrest. The lesson was clear. In the digital age, everything you post can and will be used against you.
R. Kelly, keeping the evidence on tape. R. Kelly built a career off hits, money, and controversy, believing his influence could protect him. For decades, he avoided legal trouble until the tapes surfaced. Videos and audio recordings he thought were private became his undoing. He kept proof of illegal activity like trophies, unaware that one day they could be exposed. Prosecutors pieced together years of abuse, using the recordings to build a case. R. Kelly's confidence became his biggest liability. fame, power, and wealth couldn't erase the fact that he documented his crimes. Investigators used the tapes to show premeditation, manipulation, and intent. Fans were shocked to see that he had essentially kept a paper trail for the feds. Even with lawyers, the evidence spoke louder than any defense. The man who once controlled crowds was now controlled by his own recordings. His biggest mistake wasn't the crime itself, it was believing secrecy meant immunity. The tapes turned legend into cautionary tale. In the end, R. Kelly's own obsession with control led to his downfall. Proof doesn't lie, and in his case, it sang louder than any song he ever recorded.
Nipsey Hussle's killer, talking too much. Eric Holder thought bragging about murder was safe on the streets, but he severely underestimated the reach of gossip. After killing Nipsey Hussle, he couldn't resist talking, telling anyone who would listen about the crime. Those words traveled fast, spreading through the community and eventually reaching police. Every boast, every detail he shared became another piece of evidence. Investigators didn't have to dig for long. Holder handed them the case on a silver platter. Even witnesses confirmed the statements he made publicly. The more he spoke, the clearer the picture became, leaving no room for doubt. Social media and word of mouth amplified his mistake. By the time police caught him, Holder had already convicted himself in the court of public opinion. Silence could have bought him more time, but ego and arrogance made him careless. Nipsey's death was tragic, but Holder's downfall was almost preventable. The case proved that in street crimes, words can be as dangerous as weapons. Law enforcement capitalized on his overconfidence, piecing together a complete narrative. Holder's story is a cautionary reminder. Bragging about a crime is as bad as committing it. In the end, the streets heard too much, and the law heard even more.
Young Thug, the lyrics that led to Rico. Young Thug's rise was built on creativity, fashion, and raw street credibility. But the very art that elevated him became evidence against him. Prosecutors in a massive RICO case argued that his lyrics described real-life shootings, hits, and gang activity. Every verse, every reference to violence or guns was analyzed in court. What he thought was artistic expression turned into a roadmap for law enforcement. Investigators combined lyrics with social media posts, videos, and witness testimony. Suddenly, the studio became a crime scene in the eyes of the law. Fans argued it was free speech, but prosecutors painted it as proof of intent. The case showed how blurred the line between art and reality can be in hip-hop. Young Thug's words, once a tool for storytelling, were twisted into legal evidence. Lawyers fought hard, but prosecutors used each bar to support conspiracy charges. The courtroom heard every boast, every threat, and every street anecdote as literal testimony. His mistake wasn't rapping about life, it was making life so public that the feds could decode it. In the end, music that made him a star became a trap he couldn't rhyme his way out of. Young Thug's story warns that in hip-hop, your voice can echo in court.
Soulja Boy, the flex that brought the police. Soulja Boy always loved showing off his wealth, fame, and influence online. But one Instagram post nearly landed him in serious trouble. He flashed guns, not fake props, but real, illegal firearms. The authorities noticed immediately and raided his home within days. His drip check turned into a felony check, and suddenly, flexing had consequences. Soulja had a history of arrests, so this wasn't taken lightly. The case proved that confidence and social media clout don't protect you from the law. Every follower became a witness, whether they knew it or not. Fame may bring power, but it also magnifies mistakes. Prosecutors painted the flexing as blatant disregard for the law. Even a superstar with millions of fans can't outrun evidence captured on camera. Social media, which fueled his career, became the trap that nearly ended it. Soulja's situation is a modern lesson. In the digital age, everything you post can be subpoenaed. The police didn't need an informant. They had a live stream.
In the end, showing off wasn't just bad manners, it almost became criminal evidence. Soulja Boy learned that sometimes the hype can get you arrested.
Fetty Wap trusting the wrong people. At his peak, Fetty Wap seemed unstoppable, dropping hits and touring worldwide. But the people around him weren't always loyal. He joined a drug ring run by friends he trusted blindly. One member flipped on him, handing the feds all the evidence they needed. Fetty's fame couldn't shield him from betrayal. The law didn't care about his music or millions, only the proof. Federal agents tracked transactions, messages, and meetings, building a solid case. The trust he placed in others became his Achilles heel. Even a superstar lifestyle couldn't buy protection from legal consequences. His story shows how street loyalty doesn't always survive under pressure. Everyone thought he was untouchable, but one slip-up from an associate ended it. Fetty's arrest shocked fans and proved that mistakes can come from outside forces. It wasn't his crimes that doomed him, it was who he surrounded himself with. One wrong connection can undo a career overnight. In the end, Fetty Wap's rise and fall remind everyone in hip-hop that trust is currency, and spending it wrong can cost everything.
Lil Reese, getting caught on camera. Lil Reese built his reputation on mystery, toughness, and street credibility. But in the digital age, no secret lasts forever. A viral video surfaced showing him assaulting a woman, and suddenly the internet became evidence. People shared it, posted it, and amplified it beyond control. Police didn't have to search for leads, the camera did their work for them. Lil Reese's fame made the video travel fast, drawing more attention from authorities. What was meant to be a private or street-level act turned into public proof. Witnesses came forward, and the law moved quickly. The viral nature of social media meant there was no hiding. Even fans who supported him were shocked by the clarity of the footage. The streets that once elevated him now contributed to his downfall. It showed how being in the public eye multiplies mistakes exponentially. Cameras don't lie, and in this case, neither did the internet. Lil Reese learned that one moment, caught on tape, can undo years of street respect. The lesson? Privacy is rare, and fame makes mistakes permanent. In the end, viral proof can trap anyone, no matter their reputation.
G Herbo, the credit card scheme. G Herbo's rise in hip-hop came with a flashy lifestyle, luxury cars, expensive jewelry, and designer fashion. But the money didn't always come from legitimate sources. The feds traced his extravagant spending back to stolen identities and credit card fraud. Prosecutors painted a clear picture. G Herbo was living beyond his means with ill-gotten gains. Every luxury trip, exotic pet, and online flex became part of the investigation. He thought his fame would hide his financial crimes, but the digital paper trail was unstoppable. Transactions, receipts, and messages tied him directly to the scheme. Law enforcement used it all to build a strong federal case. Fans were shocked that his success was partly funded by fraud. It proved that appearances can be deceiving, and not every flex is legitimate. The trap wasn't getting caught stealing. It was thinking he could get away with it while flaunting wealth publicly. Once the feds saw the pattern, there was no way to escape. G Herbo's story became a warning about mixing crime with Instagram clout. The lesson is simple: show off too much, and someone is always watching. In the end, his image of success became the blueprint for his arrest.
Casanova, talking too loud in the DMs. Casanova's downfall didn't come from public videos or lyrics, it came from private messages. He used encrypted DMs to discuss guns, drugs, and gang activity, thinking they were safe from prying eyes. But the feds decrypted them and found every detail they needed. His music hinted a criminal life, but his confidence in private messaging exposed him fully. Investigators had a digital blueprint of illegal activity laid out by his own hand. The case against him was airtight, built entirely on his own communications. Casanova believed secrecy protected him, but technology proved otherwise. The more he bragged or planned, the deeper the hole became. Friends and allies couldn't save him when every word was logged and analyzed. It was proof that overconfidence can be just as dangerous as committing the crime itself. Even the most careful rapper can be undone by arrogance. Casanova's DMs turned into a courtroom record, leaving no room for doubt. His story shows that in hip-hop, information travels fast, even in private spaces. What he thought was clever communication became his biggest mistake. In the end, confidence without caution is often the deadliest trap.